In this episode, we take a look at the narcissist and wolf in sheep's clothing hardwires. Oh, I love myself, and so should you. It took all my energy to become this exceptional human being that I am. You might think I'm arrogant and shallow, controlling and self-centered. Well, I guess jealousy makes you nasty. You say I'm a narcissist. What do you know?
The narcissism hardwire is a secondary hardwire. It stems from a certain type of parenting style. So you get the parent that is telling his child, you are just fantastic and you're so beautiful and you're such a good sports person and you're so talented and you must just do what you must do and everyone will be looking up on you and you're better than everybody and you must step over people to get what you want because you're just amazing. So that's the one style. And the other style is the parent that is the narcissist themselves and they become the role model. And that child will very likely be a little bit more Z, and that causes the overt, we call it overt narcissism, that is in your face narcissist. It is just overt. So the narcissist is egocentric. It's just talking about me, myself, and I, how amazing, how good, how much I know, I'm more clever, I'm more everything. And they work themselves usually up into management positions or high positions, corporate sector. They love to be in control. And they love to have humans that they can play and control. So a narcissistic behavioral pattern is when a person is subtly manipulating people to get what they want. In the beginning, they are very, very, very good in love bombing you. So they would wine and dine you and make you feel good and flirt and say nice words and give you presents and overseas trips and shower you with all sorts of stuff. And you'll just think it is the best human you've ever met. And then slowly but surely, once they have you in their spider web, they will start discrediting you and they will start devaluing you. They will tell you you're not good enough, you're not this, you're not that. They will keep a book of all your sins and they'll throw it against you when you don't even remember it. They will take a small little thing and they'll blow it up into such a big thing. So a narcissist also loves to get other people, we call them the flying monkeys, other humans that they can use as their puppets to do bad work and do things for them. And those guys are almost like proud to be part of this game. And they manipulate them so much that they are staying all the time. They actually get hurt. They get discredited and devalued, but they'll always come back for more because just when they feel they can't take it, then they will get another nice gift or something like that, and then they'll be back again. And they will start believing, I can't live without this human. So it becomes a whole a pathological type of interplay. And families, you'll find in families, you'll get the narcissistic family bonds where they go back to their parents all the time because those parents keep on manipulating the children. So a narcissist will also do things like gaslighting. So gaslighting is to almost make you feel that you are stupid or you are going mad. But I thought this was true. And then they'll say, I never said that. How could you? What's wrong with you? I think you're getting a memory loss. So they'll play your mind with mind games. A narcissist is a perpetrator. A narcissist is the bully. A narcissist, it all depends on the continuum of narcissism where a person lies. But if a person goes over like 25% and higher, then you know the narcissism is starting to develop in that person. And that person is starting to play others and step on others because of their own need for self. They have a false self and they need to maintain that false self. The biggest sin that you can do to a narcissist is to bring the truth out and to set them up that they look ashamed or they feel ashamed or that you can see that they were actually not real. It's not the true self. You can never do that. You must always make them look good. A narcissist will go into such a shame attack and to an anger type of anger attack when they just sense that their self-esteem is being affected by something. So they protect that false self in every possible way. I mean, they will kill for that.
But how does the narcissist hardwire develop in people? Professor Slobbert sheds some light on this topic.
The narcissism hardwire reflects a human being that has an excessive need for admiration, but disregard others, disregard their feelings, disregard their achievements. It doesn't matter how substantiative or how valid it is, and cannot handle any criticism, and also has an overpowering sense of entitlement. Now, this is very important that we understand where this comes from. And unfortunately, I think that one of our very cherished behaviors and practices as significant others, as parents and as educators, may be the culprit of this. It's absolutely important that we need to ensure that we avoid any kind of behavior that would damage the image and the identity of the child. The child should never experience that they are not good enough. But unfortunately, I think we have a particular practice, a particular custom, which we called self-esteem. And we regard this behavior to boost self-esteem of children as very high. But what happens in practice with boosting self-esteem is that whatever the child does to prevent anything that could damage the child is just applauded or being said, "Oh, that's okay," and "No, you're so good," and "Everything will be fine," etc., etc., etc. And this happens even when a child has engaged with a completely unacceptable behavior. In that sense, the child just receives and perceives whatever he does or she does as good or good enough. And that is where the narcissism is bound to start. Not only this, but the child loses the ability and capacity of self-assessment. Because if the child never, in response to behavior, is correctly indicated in terms of what it is, was it appropriate or not appropriate, the child will never have that competence of self-assessment. And it is the whole essence of metacognition, the system of metacognition, that is in danger. And metacognition is everything about learning to learn, thinking how one thinks, and therefore is being able to correction, is able to improvement. And that is the pity. It's so sad in terms of this self-esteem and self-esteem boosting and the results thereof, that people become incompetent without knowing that they are incompetent. And we have to guard against that very, very seriously. The child's assessment of his or her own competence might be skewed up to a 60% level. In other words, the child will assess himself in terms of 60% higher as his real and actual competence. And we can understand, and we should understand, that this might be devastating. And this is the whole bottom line of narcissism. The parent that engages in this self-esteem boosting, but the behavior of the child is not in line with the boosting that takes place. It is actually the child that experiences a lie without knowing it. And we have to understand that it is the truth that needs to be the victor here.
I'm a good person, always friendly, always helping and always caring. Trust me with your deepest secrets, for my concern is never about me.
The second type of narcissist is called a covert narcissist. So covert is more behind the scenes. So the covert narcissist is usually more whole brain or even more Zord dominant in the brain. So they'll be more creative and more crafty, but maybe even more corrupt. So the way they play, because they are not truthful people, they carry a false sense of self, and it's all about me, myself and I. So this type of narcissist will be more the savior, the good one, the one that helps, the one that is seen to help the poor or the disabled or people like that. But if you really look at their fruit, you will see it's all about their acknowledgement, their affirmation. They so crave affirmation. So the covert narcissist plays behind the scenes. They work out schemes so that they can benefit at the end of the day. They are eventually, you find them as false prophets. They come with nice stories and messages and do nice things, and you then start following them. And that is where they are eventually going to command and control you and devalue and discredit you, because it's never about anybody else. It's never about that good deed that they did. It's about me, myself, and I, and that's all it is. So a covert narcissist can sometimes be even more dangerous because you won't see it coming. You will think it is the angel of the light.
We visit George van der Merwe, a man with experience dating back to 1978. We asked him, as a man who's worked all over the world, what's his experience of narcissism in the work he does?
You know, narcissism has only come to the forefront in the past few decades. I think the end of the 90s, it became really evident that the world was covered in narcissism. Before that, you would experience people who had the same traits, but we didn't have a name for it, so we didn't know what to call it. But the experience was there. And from a religious perspective, you find many of these people have great difficulty in competing with a God because of their godlike behavior, the way that they conduct themselves. And of course, that is behavior that they are hardwired to do. They know no other form of behavior. And it often competes with their religion, which makes it rather difficult to deal with from a religious point of view.
So how does it play out in church settings? Is it something that you find narcissists in?
You'll find them in the leadership positions in churches, and you'll find them in the service organizations that are supporting churches, supporting missions. So they are all over. And as we said, it's something which they cannot control. But it's evident, and it's destructive.
What does it look like?
Well, first of all, it's all about me. It's concentrated on becoming the leader, the one who's venerated, and the one who is seen to be doing all the good. And the flip side of that, of course, is that the people who admire this person become so entrenched in victimization that they can't escape it. And it's very difficult, especially in the workplace. If you have a narcissist as a boss, they would like to dominate you and to make sure that they are venerated by you, that you think the world of them. But at the same time, they will degrade you, they will gaslight you, they will tell you things about yourself and what you need, as if you have no brain to discern that for yourself. And that in the workplace is so destructive because it breaks down your self-confidence, and it also allows other people to join forces with the narcissist leader, boss, in degrading you. And I've seen that play out in many ways, many different ways, in various spheres of life, which leaves the victim at the mercy of the narcissist, and the only way out is to leave. But if you are in a job which you really need the income, the security, for various reasons, it's very difficult to leave. You can't just do that overnight.
Narcissism being a soul destructor, it's basically destroying a human soul. How does that play out?
Just talking on the normal use of the word soul, it means your inner being, and your inner being becomes so vulnerable that you doubt yourself. And when you start doubting yourself, you believe that you are in the wrong all the time. And once you have acknowledged that it's your fault, and they work with fault, then you are at their mercy. And that's exactly where they want you, because then they can control you. So a very large portion of narcissism is control over other human beings, deciding their fate and their future. And people who do not play according to the narcissist rules are then sidelined. And worse than that, they become the victims of the entire workforce, because you've got to side with the narcissist leader against this one who's the black sheep and find the fault there. Until, of course, this person leaves, and then somebody else becomes the target, the victim, the black sheep. Now, if you fall under their spell when they start a relationship, for instance, and show you all this love and this goodness and the enthralling talks that you have, you cannot see through that, because they are so adept at covering their tracks, until one day you wake up to find that something is amiss and you don't really know what it is. Now, the same happens in the workplace. You venerate this leader who's been appointed now and who is able to see the future and to guide you and has all these plans, and then it starts to turn against you if you're not very, very wide awake. And it's something which starts to destroy you. It destroys your soul, as we said, because you become second guesser par excellence. You start thinking that maybe you're wrong. Maybe it is your fault. Maybe it is your mistake. So it's a very, very dangerous situation for anybody who goes up against them, because a normal person does not have the tools to deal with narcissism. There are ways in which you can confront it, but in the long run, the best thing is to run.
So can you share some tools with me?
Yes, I think one of the things that I found helpful is to reflect what they say. Instead of taking it on board, if they say, "Oh, how stupid of you," say, "That's interesting that you've mentioned stupid. Why did you say that? Why did you choose the word? How did you get to that?" And all you do is reflect, 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 up to a point. And the narcissist does not like that, because they don't like to get into a discussion about things. They like to fire and forget and leave you to bleed. But once you do not bleed and reflect, then they change tack immediately, because that is not working, so they go back to the other tack. So it varies, and every time you think that this is it, you are being smitten now and thrown to the dogs, they pick you up again and then caress you and bring you back, because they need you just as much as they need adoration from all the others. They need your adoration because they're playing for the pavilion. And they can't stop it. It's just part and parcel of how they function.
Doug Larson said, "Wisdom is the reward you get for a lifetime of listening when you would have preferred to talk." Let's apply the lessons learned in the course of this episode